Hello and welcome back to the studio. I think I'm on my third or fourth day of trying to send files to Jacob, and I'm doing a terrible job at it apparently, or obviously, because whenever I listen to one of the tracks I get this weird feeling of, well, I could probably, if I just added this one thing, it would be more articulate or better. And now today I was supposed to burn this wintry tremolo track. Sounds something like this. And it's raw and unmixed form. And we've been talking about making maybe a vocal canon, moving over that as like a vocal cloud kind of a thing. And Jacob has come up with some ideas that are really exciting and great, so really looking forward to hearing that. But what I wanted to do is talk a bit about, as you heard, there's a Grand Casa on here, as in a concert bass drum. Right there. And I wanted something to give that both a rhythmic and a sonic counterpoint, something that would answer the Grand Casa. So I took out some cymbals, and I wanted to talk about, previously, I think about maybe a year ago, I was talking about tuning tambourines and tuning shakers, so that when you work with a track, you try to find shakers and tambourines and all that eighth note percussive stuff, and get that to be in tune with the track. So you don't just take out the first tambourine you've got, but you try to find the perfect sound for it, because these are little details that really amplify the basic mood, or the like the tonality as a whole for the production you're working on. So if we listen to this track, there's it's fairly gloomy and symphonic in a way. So what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these things, I'm not really talking about necessarily going into detail of tuning it, but being aware of it more, so that you know what you're actually trying to achieve, and being articulate about it, and not just like whacking it on there. Which means that, for instance, you could, because as soon as you've articulated that, you can choose how you're going to do that. Are you going to amplify it, or are you going to do the opposite? How wide do you want how much information do you want to have in this particular piece? Do you want it to be very streamlined? Well, then you should go for something that is within the context. Or do you want it to be as wide as possible? Well, you should have contrasting sounds. Yeah, this is pretty like simple, mundane stuff, but it really makes a difference just being aware of it. And I mean, the percussion stuff is so overlooked, especially in pop music, where it's just like the last overdub, because we need to get mixing in about 2 minutes. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I just want to show you a couple of, these are of course not all my cymbals, but just talking about here's one of these Turkish, I mean, you won't be able to actually hear the thing because we're doing this on a cell phone, but this is a 18-inch crash, Turkish thingy like that. And if we listen to that, it's got a really full-bodied, well-rounded sound with a lot of overtones that is could easily fit with this background, because it's got like all the information in there. Another extreme, if I'm going for the symphonic orchestral stuff, is one of these Siljan paper thin crashes. And if we listen to that, it's almost flimsy, and this it's great for accent and if you do like delicate stick stuff. But for this, I wanted to go for something that had a bit more body. And so the most obvious choice would be to use like the Turkish or maybe a medium-bodied cymbal. But I wanted to go for something that was a bit more grainy and a bit more rusty, if you will. Because I didn't want it to be one thing. I didn't want it to be just one impression in there. I mean, these things, I mean, the listener won't pinpoint it and won't understand it. But what you do is that you put as much information and thought into a production as you possibly can, so that the way you can perceive it will be in so many more ways than just one. Right? Anyway, so this is a Wuhan crash. It's a Chinese cymbal, and this is like I think it's an 18-inch one, and I've used this a lot in a drum kit setting, and this is what this cymbal sounds like. So it's got a lot more, so much more unpredictable than these are. These are really good sounding cymbals, but this is it's cheaper. It's got a more almost industrial sound to it, if it makes any sense. But what it does is that it brings a bit of grit to it as well, and as it's not as good quality as the other ones, every hit you do on this, if you just look at how thick it is, it varies throughout the cymbal, and it's not exactly round and all that. But that means that every hit is going to be different, which also will, unless you loop it. But I hope that no one out there is looping their stuff. We don't like that. That's cheating. But every single hit will be different depending on how hard you hit it and where you hit it. So this is what it sounds like in the... And it almost goes, which is great. So, take care of your percussion overdubs. Don't just whack them down because we need 8 notes in the chorus. That's slow last millennium, right? Right. Bye. And have you noticed that I'm sort of doing a tripod thing? Everyone's happy. That's great.